big anniversary for AEW tomorrow night. It's the fifth anniversary of Dynamite. I know you weren't there for the first episode, but I still kind of consider you an AEW original. You've been there for most of that time. You've uh, gotten a chance to, not only have a title run while you were there, which we'll get into in a little bit, but you've also had some pretty interesting feuds. If it's not too cliche, I just wanted your thoughts on the past 5 years and being a part of making AEW what it is.
Absolutely. I actually feel the same way. I wasn't there from the start. I was there in spirits, but I feel like an OG because it was 4 years ago that almost to the month of September was my first match 4 years ago at AEW against Thunder Rosa. And I signed really quickly after that, about a week later, inked the deal, and it's been a ride. I remember 5 years ago watching the first ever episode of Dynamite, and at the time I was coaching at the Performance Center, and I loved my job. I love coaching. I still love coaching and really enjoy helping people and giving back. But the whole time I was coaching, I felt internally I had unfinished business in the ring. And I felt that every single day. And when I watched the first episode of Dynamite, it was incredible because it was the first time in so many years that we saw another company just burst on the scene, and it had a different vision. And I remember watching it and being really inspired, and it just brought out my love for wrestling so much because I saw, hey, this is different. This is really cool. I want to be back in the ring, and I think this is the perfect place to do it.
Mhm.
And so I always had that in my mind for that year. I just kept watching. I kept envisioning myself there. And then, as difficult as this was when COVID hit and I lost my job at WWE, and it was a tough time for all of us, but it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because I was able to get back in the ring. I started training so hard. I didn't know if there was an opportunity coming at AEW, but it came so fast.
Mhm.
It was like the night before that match with Thunder Rosa that
Yeah.
I was contacted. And but the thing is, I was ready. I had been training. I had been preparing because I knew that that was coming. And 4 years later, here we are.
Mhm.
It's been an awesome ride for sure.
I mentioned the title match, or I'm sorry, the title reign. You were NWA Women's World Champion in AEW, so it's like the forbidden door like was really kicked open a little while after that, but it was just such a fun time to kind of see what AEW was trying to be, and then there's different little eras that came in here and there, but as far as being consistently featured on TV, I know you had to deal with some injuries. You announced last, I think it was October, that you had some seizures. Uh, can you talk about like two-part question? First, have you gotten any updates on the cause of those? And can you speak to how important keeping momentum is as a pro wrestler when you're faced with stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, unfortunately, there haven't really been a lot of answers. I've tried to get answers, seeing so many doctors and taking all the tests, but the hard thing about seizures, and just from talking to other people that have experienced that, is most of the time they can't figure out the cause. And I think that's what makes seizures so scary and so difficult for people because it's a really scary thing to go through. It's the scariest thing I've ever been through. And I've, yeah, never found out the cause. But for example, this past weekend, I was doing a show and I had a woman come up to me and she said, I just really wanted to thank you when you shared your story. That made me feel less alone because I've had seizures my whole life. And same kind of deal, didn't know. She tried to figure out as well, doesn't know what caused them. She told me she's been seizure free for about 5 years now, which is incredible.
Mhm.
But just talking to people like that, and that's just one example of so many interactions that I've had since last October when I made that video of people that I've we've gone through the same thing. And those people at those points of their lives have felt really defeated, really scared, almost crippled, right?
Mhm.
Like scared to go. It's like you're not in control of your own body and of your own mind. And just talking to those kind of people over the past year has really touched me. And as scary as it was to put out that video, because I almost didn't put it out, it's validated, right? I'm so
Mhm.
happy that I put that video out because it's allowed me to connect with so many people. And I think connection is just that's what we're here for. I think it's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing. Regarding momentum as a professional wrestler is so important. Unfortunately, I have dealt with a couple of injuries and the seizures were, the longest of those because that went on for, I mean, I was out for well over a year. It's hard because when you get back, it's almost like you're starting from scratch.
Mhm.
The audience knows you, but you have to, it takes a lot. There's a climb back. And that's what I've been doing for since January when I started wrestling at AEW again. And it's honestly, I believe I'm doing the best work of my career right now. I think I've done the best work of my career at AEW, and I'm really grateful for that. But it is a climb, and also the mental aspect of going through injuries. Because when I talk to my peers that are going through it or have gone through it, I think mental is honestly harder than the physical. And the physical sucks and it's painful, but it's the mind that I think, you learn a lot how to persevere and how to come out better. So for this past year, that's exactly what I've been doing. And, it's building equity with the fans again. And it's important.
And we've seen you on several of AEW shows. You've been on Dynamite, Collision, Rampage. You've had a nice run across those shows. You are coming off of a victory over Queen Aminata on Collision a couple weeks ago. Now you go into the fifth anniversary show against Britt Baker, DMD. I feel like I'm contractually obligated to do that, but she's like the face of the women's division for so many years. She's the first, she has all these accolades. She's the first one signed. Talk to me about getting a chance to face her. She's on her own comeback of sorts. So talk to me about the match, going into Wednesday in her backyard. It's in Pittsburgh too, if that's not more pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, but great pressure. And I operate well under pressure. To me, this match is I'm treating this like a pay-per-view match. This is one of the most important matches of my entire career. Definitely top three most important matches of my time in AEW. And I'm going into this with a very serious mindset. I've been preparing myself for the past week and a half since I found out about this match. I'm really excited that it's in Pittsburgh. I think, playing around with that crowd is going to be really fun. And obviously, we're going to be in DMD territory. As you mentioned, Britt has also gone through a journey of some really hard stuff. She came out on TV and told us that she had gone through some mini strokes, which is I can't imagine how terrifying that was for her. So I have a lot of respect for her climb back to the ring. I can only imagine how many different things she was dealing with during that time and the circulating thoughts that went on. And so I respect the fact that she's worked her way back. And as you mentioned, she says that she's the face of the division. So I think walking into home territory of Pittsburgh and wrestling one of the women that is a true OG, been there
Mhm.
since day one, the first woman signed to the company, and if I can defeat the golden goose of AEW, that's massive. And
Mhm.
this run, this is about me. I take a lot of pride in what I do. This is my greatest love, professional wrestling. This is what I believe that I was meant to do in my life.
Mhm.
And I'm never complacent. This match is a great opportunity to there's going to be a lot of eyes on this match. And as I said, I work well under pressure. So tomorrow, or actually, yeah, tomorrow, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow in Pittsburgh, one of the greatest matches of my career. And I'm really excited.
So you said that this is top three. Do you know the other two? Like, I feel like the way you
Eh,
said it, you think about it a little bit.
Well, I would say probably the two pay-per-view matches. And it's crazy to me. In 4 years, I've only wrestled on two pay-per-views, Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm, and those were both in Vegas at Double or Nothing, which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
I probably place those there because there's nothing like the pressure and the excitement of a pay-per-view match. Some of the biggest crowds, biggest viewership, and special important matches. So in my mind and in my heart, I would definitely put those two up there. And they're both women that I really respect. And I think I've had some great matches with both of them. So yeah, those would be the other two.
I'll close on this. When people they hear Serena Deeb, there's a lot of stuff that comes up first. Like I'm sure straight edge society, people still ask about. You've spent some time in Shimmer. Obviously, we've been talking about 4 years in AEW. Is there something that you want people to talk about more that you think maybe does deserve more attention?
It's a great question. It's hard to pinpoint a specific thing. I think just the whole journey. I started wrestling in 2005, so almost 20 years ago. I've I believe that I have done everything that I can to succeed in this business, and I'm continuing to every single day. There's constant growth. You're never the perfect pro wrestler. Maybe Brian Danielson, but it's just you never stop growing and you never stop learning. And to me, what I want people to talk about is the legacy that I have built and continue to build. And that entirety of 20 years, straight edge society, shaving my head on national television, working alongside Punk and wrestling indies, Japan 7 times, Ring of Honor, Shimmer, and now AEW. And it's really the whole picture to me that is special and important. And every week I'm putting my heart and soul into continuing to build my legacy and to share that with not only my peers and people that I respect so much, but to share that with all the wrestling fans is I have so much gratitude and I don't take this for granted. Being able to get back in the ring after going through what I went through with those seizures is that's huge to me, and if I can inspire people, whether they're scared of something in their lives or they feel down or they're defeated or they just need some encouragement, my objective is to lift those people up because I think that more of us, more human beings need to be that way and we need to carry each other through these challenging times if that's what somebody needs. So yeah, rather than pinpointing just one specific thing, I would hope that the whole journey of my career and the legacy that I'm building will just inspire people and make people feel less alone and know that challenges are just an opportunity to grow and just continue to become a better version of yourself. And never stop. It never stops.
AEW 5 year anniversary. That's the show tomorrow. Anything you would like to plug or promote before we close this out?
Tune in tomorrow. Like I said, one of the biggest matches of my career. I'm honored. 5 years ago, I was watching this product. Today, 5 years later, I'm wrestling on the 5 year anniversary. So this is awesome for me. This is super special. I love this company and I hope you'll watch tomorrow.